Hello and welcome to another exciting Breakfast with Unity. I'm your host, Max Moreau, and today we're going to be making a monster that can only move when you can't see them. And I'm going to show a couple of ways, well, probably one primary way to do this, using renderers and stuff to check to see if a renderer is actually rendering the object or not. So let's go ahead and open up Breakfast with Unity. Was that the right button? It was. Yay. All right, and let's start with a fresh scene. Let's just do something fresh. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new scene, and I'm going to create a new folder to store our little scene here. We're going to call this Weeping Slender Angel, I think is what I called the episode, because I'm so clever. No, I mean, like, I love Doctor Who, and I love Slender Man, and then I also love some things that aren't necessarily... Oh, wait, it's 45. Wait, where did we do this? Where's Weeping? There it is. So 47? 40... Wait. 46. Did we skip one somewhere? No, we didn't. Alright. So 46, Weeping Slender Angel. And we're going to save the scene. Put this into that folder. And we're going to have a really scary angel here. So we're going to create what is it called? A plane, so that we have a place to be on. I'm going to make it 10 by 10. We're going to create a directional light. I'm going to drag in the standard assets first person controller that we've used several times before. It's a good little setup. I'm going to move him in somewhere, I don't care. I'm going to get rid of our main camera. I'm going to make sure that his camera is tagged as main camera. It is, good. And we need a thing to look away from. So I'm going to go with, what's the scariest primitive that we have? I guess a quad with like a funny texture would probably be the scariest, but I'm just going to go with... I'm going to go with a cylinder, because it's like a capsule that's had his head and bottom chopped off in a horrible way. Maybe I'll make it bloody on the top and bottom now. So this is going to be our little statue dude. And we're going to set him up real quick. So we're going to create an empty game object, throw him inside there. So it's 0, 0, 0. And then we're going to move him up 1 so that he is on the ground. So this represents his ground position. And what we're going to do is we're going to move him towards the player when you aren't looking at him. So let's give him a... no, he doesn't need to have a facing. We'll just have him be big, scary cylinder. So if we hit play, we should see our cylinder in the scene. So, and he currently doesn't move, and he doesn't move if we move away from him, of course, too, because we haven't put any logic on him. He's just a static pillar at this point. So let's make him a little bit more dynamic. So we're going to create a C# script. Let's first make him just move towards the player. So let's call it move towards player. And what we're going to do is we're just going to... So I want to just make sure if the player is... they don't have the pivot at the bottom. That's weird. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to do public float move speed equals 1.0f. I'm going to tag this guy as the player. And we're going to just, I'm just going to create a cache for who the player is for right now. Public, or private, game object, player. Actually, let's go with game object player. And then in the start, we're just going to do player equals game object dot find game objects object with tag player. And in update, all we're going to do, we'll just do the simplest form of it real quick. We're just going to do transform dot position plus equals transform dot position minus player dot transform dot position. So this is a arrow that points. This is a vector that points at the player at this point. We're going to, with the length of it is the distance from the object. We're going to take the, we're going to normalize it. So this is now 1 unit instead of the distance, and we can multiply that by our speed, and multiply that by time dot delta time. And so this guy should move towards the player unerringly. He will probably float up into the air a little bit when we do this. Let's actually attach the script first. So we're going to attach this onto our cylinder here. I'm going to call this Weeping Slender Angel. And we're going to hit play. So we should see him moving towards us. I might have mathed it wrong. I did. He's doing the opposite of what I want him to do. So what we're going to do is we just reverse these terms. I always get that wrong for some reason. So if we hit play now. So he's moving towards us. Excellent. Now he will move towards us whether we are looking at him or not. So so now let's actually make the logic for looking at it. So we're going to create a separate script and just control it here. Activate behaviors based activate behaviors. I'm going to say toggle behaviors on became invisible. So I'm just going to call it on invisible. So what we will do is we will do public behavior array behaviors to activate. I'm going to call it to disable. Toggle behaviors on invisible. On invisible. And we'll do a separate one. Behaviors disabled on invisible. We're only going to use one of them, but I'm just going to do both just so in case you want to use this for the opposite and more common case, honestly, you could do that. So all we're going to do is we're just going to create a void on became invisible. And I think the opposite is on became visible. Void on became visible. Let me just double check these though. So we're going to do on became invisible. And is there visible? Yep, looking good. So these get called when the object. Now this only works if the object has a renderer on it. So so keep that in mind. So so if the renderer is no longer seen, it will get this call, and if the renderer is seen, it will get this call, and we'll only get once when that change happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do a bunch of enabling and disabling here. So what we'll do is on became invisible, we will do for each behavior bev in behaviors enabled on invisible, and we're going to enable them. Bev.enabled equals true. And we will do the same thing for our other side. So disabled on invisible, and we will disable them. True, false. So, and then we copy this and do the opposite on here. So we just do false and true. Save. So what should happen is behavior enable on visible. So on became invisible, they become enabled. The disabled ones become disabled, and then the vice versa for the other thing. So this looks like this will work. So we're going to put this on our cylinder actually because it has the renderer, and we're going to because of this we're going to need to drag things between two inspectors. So we're going to create an extra inspector. We're just going to right click up here, choose Add Tab, Inspector, and I'm going to dock this so that we can see both of them, and we're going to lock one of them on here. So we're going to go to the Weeping Slender Angel now, and we're going to put the Move Towards Player script to be enabled on Invisible, and we don't care about Disabled on Invisible for right now. So if we hit play now, he'll still move at us from the... Oh, wait, no, he stopped moving at us. So you can see that it already disabled this. And if we look away from him, you'll see that it enables. So now we can make him really scary by just making the movement ridiculously fast. And so you can be like, oh, I guess that's just a pillar. I wonder what that... Oh! Oh, dear. Ah! What's great is if you go to the edge here, he'll move straight towards you, so he'll only move as far as you can see to the edge of the screen. Not creepy. Alright. So yeah, that's fun. Now, there's another thing here. If we wanted to have a wall between us, this may not actually work like you would expect. So let's create a quick wall. We'll just do 10 by 10 wall here. And we will make it so that we're facing him at the beginning. So if I just keep looking here, you'll note that he won't actually move towards me. And the reason he won't move towards me is because he's actually still being rendered, even though there's a wall between us. And so because of that, it's just Unity doesn't actually automatically... the on render is just, can you see it in your view? Not necessarily can you actually see the object as it occluded. Now, occlusion settings may change the behavior of this. I'm not sure. But on Unity Basic, you're not going to have much that you can do about the occlusion settings. So you may want to combine this with a raycast to find out if they're actually supposed to be enabled or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a... let's see. How do we fix this? Do I want to fix this on this show right now? So we could make it so that there is... We don't want to have another layer that toggles behaviors, because otherwise we might be toggling one way and one another way, depending on our settings. So, well, I guess that's not too bad a thing. If we can't raycast to the player, then... yeah, let's just add that as a check in here. So we'll do public bool require raycast to main camera equals, we'll say false for default. So what we will do here is, so on became invisible is one way that it'll happen, but we want to also make it so that if we don't have a raycast, we won't enable things either. So void, so I'm going to very quickly just create functions that do this thing real quick. Oh, you just call we'll just call these functions. It's not going to hurt us. So void update. And what we're going to do is if we'll do a raycast hit if physics.raycast physics.raycast. So where's the camera? Where's our first person controller character and stuff? So let's give the camera a little collider. Hopefully this won't cause any problems. We'll find out. So let's close this tab. Let's turn this thing on. And let's give the camera just a little sphere collider. We're just going to add a physics sphere collider. And we'll assume that all of the motion stuff will actually take care of the collider here, maybe. So all we're going to do is that, and I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that we can still move around, that it doesn't cause us so that we can't jump or anything. Okay, so it looks like we're not bumping ourselves too badly. And so now, in theory, if we do a raycast, we can do transform.position. The direction will be the same direction we did on move towards player, but with slightly different things. So we're going to do this, but we want this to actually be, if it's a raycast, this thing, we don't want player, we want camera dot main dot transform dot position. There we go. And then we do out hit. So if we hit something, now normally we set up our colliders so that we automatically know that when we've hit something, we've already done the layer masking and stuff. We're actually just going to check the tag this time. So if hit dot tag dot collider dot tag equals main camera. Is there a space in there, or is it just main camera? Yeah, there's just main camera. So if the tag is main camera, then what do? We call, I guess we're going to have a separate bool here. Public bool, or private bool, visible equals false. We'll default it to false. We will make sure that visible equals true here, and visible equals false here. And actually, let's also do a check. If visible, if not visible, then we do all this stuff. So wait, so if not visible, on became invisible, if not visible, no, if visible, then we do that. And on the other one, we will do the opposite. Just copy these. We will make it, whoops. We will make it not visible, and visible equals true. Tab this in and put a thing on the end. All right, so now we've got those checks, and then finally what we will do is if not, so we've hit the camera, so if we weren't visible, oh, this is not good because we need both. So require raycast the main camera. So let's actually not do this on the update. Let's do this on, oh no, this is causing problems on the other thing. So if I put this in the on became invisible, the problem is we will skip calls occasionally if we aren't seen. And so if it becomes visible, but then we raycast and we can't get to it, and then we get to a point where we can raycast to it, it might not become visible at that point. So I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to do this. So if we are, actually this should work. So actually we don't even need to check this stuff. We can just call on became invisible here. Yeah, let's just do it. No, because it needs both. Code myself into a corner, and it's the morning and I can't get myself out of it, and it's an easy corner. Alright, so on became invisible. Alright, let's not check. So we have visible, and then we also need to make sure if the raycast is working. So let's create a separate variable, private bool raycastable equals false. So what we will do is we're not going to do the double check here. We're just going to set visible to false. Alright, so we're just going to set visible to false, visible to true. And we're going to actually take this logic out too. So what we will do at the end of all of this is if we are, I'm going to just get rid of the require raycast to main camera. You can leave that in if you want as an option. We're just going to require it. So, so what we'll do is if we hit it, we'll do raycastable equals true, and else if we don't hit anything, raycastable equals false, and if we hit else here, we also do raycastable equals false. So if raycastable and visible, so if we're both raycastable and visible, then we will do this. And else we will, oh wait, that's the wrong one. I got these backwards. We want this one to be invisible. We want this one to be visible. So if raycastable and visible. So then we set, okay, so we don't set visible to true here. We just do that in the other thing. All right, so hopefully this will work. Let's give it a shot. Save, play. There's probably some edge cases I'm not handling properly, but let's give it a shot. So I'm going to keep a lookout on the... All right, I think we already saw a problem. So if we hit play right now... Whew, creepy. All right, so it moved all the way. So our problem right now is this thing. First of all, it can float. Second of all, it doesn't care if it hits a wall. So we'll actually try and get as close to you as possible within that wall. And the reason we can see it is because we can technically raycast to it at this point, because it's inside this collider. So it does actually work. It's just not working perfectly. Oh God, it got to me. No, stay away. It's inside me. All right. I'm going to call this a day for right now. Sorry that it's not as complete as some things, but we've already spent 25 minutes on it. We might do a second parter, just clean up the rest of this stuff for it. We might not. We'll see if I come up with something else by tomorrow. Anyway, you can email me at pushypixels. pushypixels@pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me at Drakfire. That's DRAKFYRE. And please donate to the show, patreon.com/cookingwithunity. Thank you guys for watching. You guys have a wonderful night, or wonderful day, and I'll catch you tonight with a full Cooking with Unity episode, Fight Go Right. Have a good one.